Imagine getting shot in the face, surviving it, feeling nerves reconnect, bones fuse, and vessels reroute, while you're fully conscious. Warning, not every detail is comic perfect. It's meant to be entertaining, not encyclopedic. Here's what they don't tell you about regeneration. Your body can rebuild itself, sure, but pain doesn't get an off switch. Every time your cells knit back together, you feel it. Every bone that snaps back into place sends shockwaves through your nervous system. It's not like a video game health bar that just fills back up. It's biological reconstruction in real time, and your brain registers every microscopic detail. You're not healing, you're just dying slower. Great news for your enemies, terrible news for your therapy bills. And here's the kicker. You can't actually die, at least not easily. So when someone figures out you regenerate, they stop holding back. Why would they? You'll just come back anyway. Torture becomes experimentation. Accidents become curiosities. Let's see how much he can take. Stops being a question and starts being a hobby for everyone who gets their hands on you. Normal humans have a limit, a point where their body gives up and shuts down. You don't get that mercy. You get to stay awake for all of it. Every second, every sensation, every moment you're begging for it to stop. And it just doesn't. So if this is just the baseline, what happens when someone actually tries to break you? Weapon X wasn't a military program. It was a torture factory with government funding, and healing mutants were the perfect test subjects because no matter what they did to them, they couldn't break the equipment. Logan didn't volunteer for this. He was kidnapped, strapped to a table, and turned into a science experiment. They didn't just give him metal bones. They drowned him in molten adamantium while he was awake and forced his healing factor to keep him alive through the entire process. Imagine feeling liquid metal burn through your skeleton, cell by cell, while your body screams at you to die but physically can't. Fun times! And that was just day one. Weapon X didn't stop there. They erased his memories, ran him through conditioning programs, and broke him down psychologically until there was nothing left but a weapon. Because here's the thing, when you have a subject that regenerates, there's no reason to stop. You can keep going, keep testing, keep pushing. Pain becomes data, suffering becomes research, and the healers? They're just lab rats that reset overnight. Customer retention at its finest. Deadpool went through something similar. Weapon X didn't cure his cancer. They gave him Wolverine's healing factor and told him to survive. Except his body started healing the cancer cells too, turning him into a walking tumor factory. They tortured him until his mind shattered, and when he finally escaped, he was so broken he had to joke about it just to stay sane. Because what else are you going to do? File a complaint with HR? So, what does decades of this do to a person's mind? Spoiler, nothing good. Let's talk about what healing actually does to your body when it never stops working. Wolverine's adamantium skeleton isn't just heavy, it's poisoning him every single day. Toxic metal leaches into his bloodstream, and his healing factor has to fight it off just to keep him alive. It's constant. His body is simultaneously being killed and saved by the same modification, running a race against itself that it can never win. By the time Logan hit old age, his healing factor was so exhausted from fighting the poison that regular injuries started sticking around. He went from unkillable to barely functional because his own skeleton was murdering him from the inside. Talk about being your own worst enemy. Deadpool's got it worse in a different way. His cells regenerate, but so does his cancer. Every time his body heals, the tumors come back with it. He's not curing anything. He's just hitting copy-paste on the thing that's supposed to kill him. His skin is a patchwork of scar tissue that never smooths out. His nerve endings are fried, which means he's either numb or in constant pain depending on the day. The jokes aren't a personality trait. They're a survival mechanism for someone whose brain cells regenerate along with a mental instability. It's like rebooting a computer that's already on fire. Sabretooth's healing factor kept his body intact for over a century, but his brain didn't get the same protection. Every time his skull took damage, his mind rewired itself wrong. He didn't just become violent, he regressed. His healing turned him feral, erasing chunks of his humanity until all that was left was instinct and rage. Imagine forgetting who you were piece by piece until you're just a weapon that occasionally remembers having feelings. X-23 heals just fine, but the conditioning, the trauma, that doesn't close up with the wounds. She was built to be a weapon, and no healing factor fixes that. So if their bodies are falling apart on a molecular level, what's happening to their minds? Your body can heal from a gunshot wound in minutes. Your mind? That's a different story. Healing factors don't come with a reset button for trauma. Every time you regenerate, your brain keeps the receipt. Every fight, every betrayal, every moment you were used as a weapon. It all stays locked in your head, piling up like emotional scar tissue that never fades. PTSD doesn't care if you're immortal. If anything, it gets worse because you have centuries to accumulate it. Imagine explaining to your therapist that your problems are literally older than they are. Wolverine's lived through multiple wars. He's watched friends die, been betrayed more times than he can count, and had his memory ripped out and rewritten by Weapon X. His healing factor kept his body alive, but couldn't protect him from the psychological damage of living that long. The nightmares don't stop, the guilt doesn't fade, and because he can't die, he can't escape it. He's been carrying the same trauma for over a century, and there's no expiration date on that kind of pain. Deadpool's mind is constantly regenerating, which sounds great until you realize his thoughts never stabilize. His personality shifts, his memories blur, his emotional regulation is non-existent. The constant jokes and fourth wall breaks aren't confidence. They're a coping mechanism for someone whose brain is literally fighting itself. He knows he's broken, and humor is the only thing keeping him from losing it completely. When your brain cells regenerate faster than you can process trauma, you're not healing mentally. You're just resetting the same broken hardware over and over. Here's the thing about healing mutants. They don't just survive their injuries, they survive their memories too. Every painful moment stays sharp and vivid no matter how much time passes. X-23 was tortured into compliance as a child, conditioned to kill without question, and treated like a tool instead of a person. Her body healed from every wound they gave her. The psychological scars, those stayed. She doesn't just carry trauma, she was built out of it. Normal people get therapy. Healing mutants get eternity to think about everything that's ever gone wrong.
I have never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little prick in my entire life, and that says a lot because I've been alive for more than 200 fucking years.
There's no forgetting, no moving on, just an endless loop of remembering every time you failed, every person you lost, and every moment you wish you could have died but didn't. And speaking of loss, when you live forever, you get really good at attending funerals. Immortality sounds romantic until you realize everyone you love has an expiration date, and you don't. Healing mutants don't just outlive their enemies, they outlive their friends, their families, their lovers, and everyone they've ever cared about. And then they do it again and again. You meet someone, you fall in love, you build a life together, and then you watch them age while you stay the same. Their hair turns gray, their body breaks down, and you're still standing there looking exactly like you did the day you met. It's like being stuck in a relationship where only one person is allowed to change. Logan's been through this more times than he can count. He's loved people, lost them, and had to keep moving because staying in one place just means watching the cycle repeat. Every relationship comes with a timer, and he knows it. So he pushes people away, keeps his distance, and convinces himself it's better that way. But isolation isn't protection. It's just a different kind of suffering. He's not avoiding pain. He's just choosing to feel it alone. Sabretooth took a different route. He stopped caring. His healing factor kept him alive for over a century. But his mind couldn't handle the weight of watching everyone around him die. So he leaned into the violence. He became feral, detached, and stopped forming connections altogether. If you don't care about anyone, you can't lose them. It's a survival strategy that works right up until you realize you've turned yourself into a monster just to avoid feeling anything. It's like emotional bankruptcy, but somehow worse. Even when healing mutants try to build something, the world reminds them it's temporary. Deadpool formed the X-Force, watched teammates die, and kept joking because the alternative was falling apart. Wolverine joined the X-Men, lost students, buried friends, and kept fighting because what else was he supposed to do? Quit? He tried that. It didn't work. The loneliness followed him anyway. You can run from a lot of things. Immortality isn't one of them. And it's not just about losing people, it's about becoming unrelatable. Normal humans don't understand what it's like to feel every wound heal in real time. They don't know what it's like to survive things that should have killed you 10 times over. You stop fitting in. Conversations feel hollow. Problems that matter to them feel insignificant to you because you've seen worse. You've lived through worse. And the gap between you and everyone else just keeps growing until you're standing in a room full of people and still feeling completely alone. Healing mutants don't fear death. They fear the endless stretch of time where everyone they love disappears and they're still here, stuck in a body that won't let them follow. They fear waking up one day and realizing they've become a ghost haunting their own life. So with all this pain, all this trauma, all this loss, you'd think the universe would give them a break. Spoiler, it doesn't. So let's put it all together. You've got a healing factor. Congratulations! Here's what you actually won. A lifetime subscription to pain you can't cancel, a body that fixes itself but never stops hurting, and a mind that remembers every single thing you wish you could forget. You don't get to die when things get bad. You just get to keep going and going and going. While everyone around you taps out, you're still in the ring getting hit. The worst part? People see your healing factor and think you're lucky. They think you're invincible, unkillable, untouchable. But you're not. You're just harder to break, which means people try harder. Enemies stop holding back because they know you'll survive it. Allies stop worrying about you because you always bounce back. And organizations like Weapon X see you as the perfect test subject because no matter what they do, you'll regenerate and they can do it again tomorrow. Your healing factor doesn't protect you. It makes you a more attractive target. You become a weapon whether you want to or not. Logan didn't ask to be Wolverine. He was kidnapped, tortured, and turned into a killer. Deadpool didn't volunteer for terminal cancer and a healing factor that made him immortal, but insane. X-23 was literally created in a lab to be a disposable assassin. Their powers didn't give them freedom. They gave them a role, and that role was violence. Because if you can't die, why not throw you at the most dangerous missions? Why not use you as a human shield? Why not send you into situations that would kill anyone else? After all, you'll heal. It's the worst kind of job security. And the trauma just keeps stacking. Every mission, every fight, every time you're forced to kill someone or watch someone die, it piles up in your head with no way out because therapy doesn't work when your brain regenerates faster than you can process anything. You're stuck in an endless loop of suffering where your body moves forward, but your mind stays trapped in every horrible moment you've ever lived through. If death is supposed to be the end of pain, healing mutants never get an ending. They just get intermissions. Logan's been stabbed, shot, blown up, drowned, and buried alive. He survived all of it, and that's the problem. He survived, which means he had to keep living with it. Deadpool jokes about dying because he can't. His healing factor took away the one escape route everyone else has. Sabretooth lived so long he stopped being human. X-23 heals from every wound except the ones that matter. Normal people break and stay broken. Healing mutants break and get put back together so they can break again. Their bodies are machines designed to keep them alive no matter how much damage they take. But there's no system in place to protect their minds, their emotions, or their sanity. They're trapped in bodies that won't quit and lives that won't end. So yeah, you heal, but the pain doesn't go anywhere. It just gets compacted, stored, and left to fester while your body cheerfully repairs itself for the next round. And the universe keeps the receipts. Every single one.